ins and outs of the educational programs and operations levy, or as you'll hear us refer to it as EP&O levy. So what does it fund? What is the cost associated with that? And why it's so critical for the Wenatchee School District. Levies are our community's investment in our schools. They are local tax dollars that stay local and get reinvested into our schools for programs and services that our community and our parents prioritize. So they are a really essential funding source for us to maintain the high quality instructional and learning environment that our students enjoy. So on February 11th of 2025, so this coming February, we will be asking Wenatchee School District residents to replace the current 4-year EP&O levy. We have an existing levy on the books that was approved by voters in 2021. And just like a magazine subscription or your Netflix, we have to go out every 4 years and ask voters to reauthorize our levy. It's also important to note, too, that replacing the levy will not resolve the budget deficit as it relates to declining enrollment, but it will preserve our levy-funded staffing and programs that we're going to talk about moving forward for the next 4 years. So there's always confusion behind what is a levy and what is a bond. The best way to think about a levy is that it's for learning, and it's really for learning and operations. Levies fill the gap between what the state funds through the prototypical funding model as basic education and what it actually costs to operate the school district and provide students with that well-rounded learning experience. Bonds, on the other hand, those are for building, and Wenatchee School District is not running a bond for the modernization or the building of any schools at this time. Not that that might not be in our future, but for right now, the ballot measure that will be coming up in February is just the replacement of the EP&O levy.
Excellent. Thanks, Diana. And I appreciate the metaphor for the Netflix subscription, because that's exactly what we're doing. This is not a new tax, and it's not a new revenue source for the school district. I like the way Diana explained that. It's a preservation of the things that we currently fund and keeping those student experiences intact as we move forward. And Wenatchee community members already support an EP&O levy, which will expire at the end of next year. And historically, for the last 4 decades, the Wenatchee community has supported the Wenatchee schools through the levy and their voting. And so we're optimistic and hopeful that we will be receiving that support again, but it's important for us to get this information out to you folks, because you are all trusted messengers as school district employees and our certificated staff to share with your people and your community what the levy means for the school district and the continuation of that. So the levy overall, this is one of our first visuals that is part of the budget bakery. This is the budget donut here, and you can see here that this represents the 25-26 school year, and the levy makes up about 12% of that overall budget. And if we think of our entire budget as a whole, 85% of the budget is for staffing and the great people who shape and educate our students each and every day. And so what does the levy pay for? And so we have 2 slides that are actually 3 slides based on what does the levy pay for? Because I think that this is very important. As Diana mentioned earlier, there's a lot of misunderstanding about a levy and a bond, but making sure that we understand that levies are for learning and they provide student services, programs, and support. Things like safety and security, classroom paras, facilities maintenance, our custodial teams, technology, curriculum, and supplies that the state only partially funds in this situation. And we know that we all want to work in safe and secure buildings and the facilities that are well maintained, that are clean, and the technology that we need to teach our students in the 21st century. So those are all very important pieces. And here's part of what I think of as the student experience. The student experience is coming into clean and well-maintained classrooms that are safe and secure, but also it's for many of the extra items that the state doesn't fund and we need to use our levy dollars for, such as music, arts and drama, all our clubs, our athletics in its entirety, our extracurricular programs, the AVID programs at middle and high school, our advanced placement programs, and high cap. Okay, Diana.
So continuing on with what the levy pays for, while the state provides funding for most teachers, the levy allows us to increase the number of staff in critical roles to ensure that we're meeting the needs of our 6,800 students here in the district. In some cases, like athletics, we receive no state funding at all. So the chart that's up on the screen right now is really meant to illustrate what we receive through the state prototypical funding model right now and how the levy allows us to add additional staffing to meet student needs. So for a district our size, again, of 6,800 students, the state provides us with enough funding for one safety and security staff member. Safety and security includes our school resource officers. The levy allows us to add 4 additional staff members to serve all 14 of our buildings here in the district. In terms of technology, the state provides us with 3 staff member or funding for staff members. The levy allows us to provide 15 more. I don't know about you, but we have 15,000 devices in the Wenatchee School District and over a crazy amount of Wi-Fi network that they have to maintain. It's over 100,000 square feet of Wi-Fi network to maintain just all of the devices and services that we need from our tech team. And I can't imagine doing it with just 3 people. Moving down the list, 22 custodians are funded by the state. We're able to add 14 more. 17 basic ed paras are funded by the state. The levy allows us to add 30 to meet those student needs in the classrooms. And then again, lastly, athletics receives no funding at all from the state and is completely supported by the levy. And we're able to use those dollars to employ 137 coaches at the middle and high school level. So another way of looking at how the levy dollars are spent is with the budget bakery analogy of this is the budget or the levy pie. So I'll start kind of at the top and work around, starting with the largest area that receives the biggest slice of the levy pie, and that's our technology department. That's all of the techs, that's all of the equipment, that's all the cybersecurity and networking supports. That also includes our security, safety and security staffing. Moving down, music and arts is the next largest funded area. That includes our K-5 art and music specialists. It's all of the equipment, it's instruments, it's anything that you need to deliver music and arts in our schools. In addition to that, we have extra staffing that's above and beyond what the state allocation provides, and that's spread across the district, but that's the 3rd largest area in which levy funding is spread out. Next to that are our extracurricular programs. Included in it are athletics. Those are our clubs, both at the high school and middle school level, but also clubs like Math is Cool and other programs that happen after school. This also includes our mariachi program and the Mariachi Festival, as well as the district-wide musical that just happened later last month. Special education also receives a slice of the levy pie, and this includes our preschool. Our maintenance and operations, as well as our transportation team, rely on levy funding, not only for staffing like our mechanics who work on our buses and for our custodians, but also for the fuel that goes in our buses to ensure that our students get to and from school every day or get on that field trip or to that athletic event. It even includes the equipment that they need and the tools that they need to work on the motor pool fleet or the bus fleet, like maybe they need a new spark plug or whatever that is. That all comes out of the levy. Teacher professional development, that's our 3 days of teacher PD, is funded by the levy, as well as our AVID, our AP classes, high cap, and then our science resource center staffing and science kits are all funded through the levy. So you can see how through the levy pie, those dollars are allocated within the district. So what will the levy cost? The board recently approved a resolution for $2.20 per $1,000 of assessed value. So for a homeowner with a property valued at $400,000, they would be looking at paying annually $880 to fund their portion of the levy. Taxpayers are already paying for the levy that was approved by voters in 2021. So again, it's not a new tax. It is a replacement of the last 4-year levy that we had that's about to expire. Something that's really important to know as it relates to the levy rate is earlier in the spring, anticipating that we were going to be going out to taxpayers to renew our EP&O levy, we made some strategic moves to create space within the tax rolls or create opportunities where we could save taxpayers dollars. The proposed levy rate of $2.20 that will be on the ballot in 2025 is an increase from what voters approved in 2021 by about 10 cents. Now, again, the purpose of our increase is to cover our inflationary costs of staffing and operations and to preserve those levy-funded staff and programs. Through a bond refinance, and the bond that was refinanced is the one that taxpayers are currently paying for, and that was for the construction of Washington Elementary and modernization of Lincoln Elementary. Through the bond refinance, just like you would with your home, we were able to save taxpayers 9 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. And over the next 8 years, that's going to equal $6.6 million going back into taxpayer pockets. So the 9 cent savings from the bond refinance for taxpayers helps to offset the proposed 10-cent increase in the levy rate. So if you look at the two blue boxes I have up here on the screen, the first one showing the $2.10 that was approved by taxpayers in 2021, and the proposed 2025 tax rate of $2.20. If you subtract that 9 cents from the bond refinance savings, we're looking at $2.11, which is a penny increase. Yes, there is a tax break for seniors and the disabled, as well as veterans. For individuals who are over the age of 61, they may qualify for the Washington State Property Tax Exemption Program. This is a great opportunity for them to lock in a rate and be able to pay an affordable tax rate for many of our community members who are on a fixed income. For people who may be eligible, they just need to contact the Chelan County Assessor's Office to determine if they qualify for that. And this applies to any tax, not just Wenatchee School District taxes. So it's worth looking into if you're over the age of 61.
Thanks, Diana. That's a lot to explain and a lot to digest. I want to just reiterate that we are recording this video so that folks can go back and reference it. We also have this slide deck presentation on our website, as well as some flyers as well that explain each and every bit of information that we've gone over today. So one of the things that we are excited about is that we believe our community is supportive of the Wenatchee School District and will support our levy when we run that in 2025. However, based on recent events very close to us, I think of the Moses Lake School District and our friends there who are struggling with a double levy failure there. We do need to think about the what ifs. And what does happen to the student experience if a levy doesn't pass. And so the details of if a levy were not to pass in February of 2025, we would run it again in April. We would have our resolutions ready. We would call a special board meeting so that we could run another election immediately after in April. If for some reason it didn't pass in April, we would then have to wait a calendar year from the first levy. So we'd have to wait until February of 2026 to run again. And we'll show you what the numbers might look like. But based on what we've talked about already on what the levy funds and supports, those are the things that would have to go away if we were not able to fund a levy. So if the voters do not approve the renewal of the levy, the district would have to cut all levy funded staffing and programs that support students. We obviously don't want that. And historically, our community has passed our levies in the 60% range, which levies are a simple majority. So we need 50% plus one to pass this levy and replace it. Here are some numbers, though, if it is important for us to think about what if. So it's important for this slide for us to digest. We know that our budget is 85% staffing and people. and a lot of the levy funds and supports people in our system. So we look here and we have a couple of boxes. And this is kind of the final piece in our budget bakery. We're calling these Twinkies, but they're not all yellow, so that might be hard to imagine. But you can see here that we have it broken down by year and the budget reductions that we made for the 24-25 school year. You can see there is represented by the 8.9 million. If we were to have a double levy failure, we would need to reduce the 13.7 million that is represented under the 25-26 school year Twinkie. 9.1 of that would be levy proceeds that we would not get in 2026. The $2.1 million would be the state match local effort assistant funds that we receive because of not going out for a maximum levy. The maximum levy is $2.50. So by asking for $2.20, there's a state matching that goes along with that. And there's some factors with enrollment that decrease that number over time as well. And then you can see there in orange, we have referenced the $2.5 million reductions that we talked about at the beginning of our time based on our declining enrollment and inflationary factors in our budget process. You can see that the 26-27 school year is a much larger number when it comes to levy funds because that full year is supported by levy, where the 25-26 school year has kind of the end of our current levy that is already approved mixed into it. So it has some different dollar amounts there, but you can just see kind of what that looks like in that trajectory. Now, there is a lot of optimism and hope that our community will support our levy, and we're going to pass that thing in 2025. So we're excited about that. And Diana's going to talk about some information and some opportunities that we all have to help support the informational effort with the levy as well.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, is really helping to educate our stakeholders and ourselves about the levy, what it funds, why it's so critically important to the district. So the best place to go to get information is our website, wenatcheeschools.org/EPO Levy. There's a link on the homepage for the district to get to that, and we'll also make it a little more prominent as we get closer to Election Day, but you can go there now to get information, frequently asked questions. We have a flyer in English and Spanish that's available, as well as the same slide presentation if you'd like to go back and just look at some of the slides a little closer and spend a little bit more time. But as school district employees, we are trusted messengers, and it's really important that we all understand, again, the impact that the levy has on the district, and that we feel comfortable being able to field questions or at least direct people to where to get the answers to many questions that they might have. So check out the website. We will also be sharing a lot more on our social media channels. We're creating some videos that really demonstrate, the need and the importance of these programs and staffing that are funded by the levy. So more will come out about that. Also, you have the opportunity to get involved as a staff person. There are two different roles that we play as district staff. One is sharing factual information, which is everything that will come out from the district is factual. We are not asking people to vote yes, but we are reminding them to vote, and to vote on February 11th. So anything that we have, you are welcome to share out. You can use your district email and district resources to share these bits of information out. You just can't ask people to vote yes. However, in your personal life outside of school, not using your work computer and, making sure that you are off work time, you can absolutely ask people to support the levy and talk to them about ways they can go about doing that. We also have the ability to wave signs and wear a pin that says, vote yes or vote for our schools. So there's a lot of different ways that we can go about supporting and sharing information. And in the coming days, along with this recording, I will share all the rules of the road, our PDC guidelines, just to help you better understand what you can and can't do. But again, you play an important role, and that's why we're starting here, is making sure our staff really know and understand the importance of the levy, so that you can feel confident sharing that out with people. So the last slide that we have, Kory, is just remember to vote. So mark your calendar today. February 11th, 2025 is the election. Ballots will begin dropping right around the 25th of January. So you can anticipate people will be receiving those in the mail. And right now we're in more of the quiet phase of the campaign. Again, we're reaching out to our staff. We're trying to help educate ourselves. But going into the second part of the year, so when we come back from winter break, we will be hitting the campaign very hard with lots more information and a lot more resources to help educate the public on the levy.